So when it comes down to Xbox and what you think of them and how you thought they handled their 2023, now that we're in 2024, like what is your main thoughts on that? What do you think? Like, I would love to hear what everybody else thinks, because for me personally, I think Microsoft killed it in 2023. I think they have really done a fantastic job of making sure that, you know, we're all kind of happy and placated and in the know, which I think is a huge important part of, you know, video games themselves. You know, you have to be able to know what's coming. You have to know kind of you know, what's up, and I think Microsoft did a good job of that. So there, at the end of the year, there's always this situation where we get these lists like, oh, the best of lists or the most disappointing list, and for some reason, which was very odd to me, we saw that Starfield had made it into some most disappointing list, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man, this is crazy. How on earth is that on the most disappointing list of anything? Like, it really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And so now when we see that, you know, just how much Starfield was played, I think we kind of get an idea that maybe that bias still exists and that people are going to talk about Xbox stuff in a different way, simply because it's going to draw more people to the forefront. So this sort of lets everybody know what's going on. Baldur's Gate, no doubt, I'm sure it's a good game for what it is. It won the Game of the Year award from the main Game of the Year people, the Game Awards. Starfield kind of got left out in the cold with that, but it's interesting because Bethesda Studios' game Starfield is officially the most played RPG of 2023, despite Larian Studios' Baldur's Gate 3 being the most critically acclaimed. Based on official playtime stats from Bethesda themselves and Larian Studios themselves, Starfield is easily the most played RPG of the year, surpassing the total number of hours spent in Baldur's Gate 3. Players have spent a total of wow, look at this. That's a lot of playtime. You know, 452,556,984 hours in Baldur's Gate 3, while that's crazy. While a total of 534,823,944 hours have been spent in Starfield. As such, Bethesda's sci-fi RPG has a significant lead over Larian's title, despite the latter achieving greater critical acclaim. It's worth pointing out that Baldur's Gate 3 stats are from December 5th, while Starfield's are from December 20th. As such, there's a 15-day differential. That said, it's also worth keeping in mind that Baldur's Gate 3 launched out of early access 34 days prior to Starfield, which balances things out, meaning, okay, so Baldur's Gate would have tailed off more, so it wouldn't have been as much and had over a month advantage on them anyway. So really, if you look at it, Starfield's really doing much, much better in terms of active players actually playing and putting in time in the game. Baldur's Gate 3, a 2023 role-playing game, is the third main installment in the Baldur's Gate series, developed and published by Larian Studios, a Belgian gaming developer based on Dungeons & Dragons tabletop fantasy role-playing system. The game initially saw an early access release for Mac OS and Windows in October of 2020, with the full version became available for Windows in August 2023, followed by the releases on PlayStation 5, Mac OS, and Xbox Series X and S. Starfield, of course, is a huge action role-playing game created by Bethesda and published by Bethesda Softworks. Players join a team of space explorers on a mission to collect mysterious artifacts across various locations in the Milky Way galaxy. The open-world setting encompasses both fictional and non-fictional planetary systems. Set in a space-themed environment, Starfield marks Bethesda's first new IP in 25 years. Described by director Todd Howard as Skyrim in space, the game was developed using the Creation Engine, which was modified extensively to support the procedural generation in the game. Obviously, the game started development after Fallout 4 in 2015. So yeah, when we actually see that, you know, the numbers are pretty crazy between the two, it really kind of puts things in perspective where a lot of the hate comes from. Like, also, what was very interesting was the average person. That means, like, it really kind of throws out the narrative that we saw in a lot of things that people say about Game Pass. Oh, well, people turn it on and try it and then turn it off a minute later, right? But when you look at the average playthrough being 100 hours, you kind of get the idea that, that's pretty damn incredible that people are spending so much time in Starfield. And clearly, I mean, it's clearly a situation where we see that the game is a little bit polarizing, but I also think that some of the polarizing nature of Starfield is the fact that it is just, Xbox console exclusive still. So I think people really kind of take that stuff the wrong way in terms of how it affects their opinions on Xbox things versus PlayStation things, and it's super unfortunate to say the least, because I always felt like, at the end of the day, that Microsoft tries their best. They try incredibly hard to do the right things. I mean, it doesn't always work out that way. It doesn't for any company in particular, but it just seems like people are much more hard on Microsoft and Xbox over everything compared to PlayStation and even Nintendo. Like, could you imagine if Microsoft sent out cease and desist orders the way that Nintendo does, and didn't allow people to play their games on, YouTube or Twitch or whatever, the way that Nintendo does? Like, that would be absolutely insanity, in my opinion, but like, everybody just allows Nintendo like this free pass, and it's kind of the same way with Sony. Like, Sony had one of the worst years ever in 2023 from not only a first party perspective, but just like in general as a company perspective, with all the layoffs and the studio closings and the cancellations and the delays. Like, how do you simultaneously delay 6 games, right? Like, that's crazy bad, and nobody was talking about it. Like, nobody's literally talking about this stuff. So it's kind of crazy to me, because if Microsoft were going through all that stuff, people would definitely be talking about it. They would definitely be saying, hey, that's some crazy stuff. I hope something changes or whatever. We hate Xbox, blah blah blah. I mean, that's literally what you would hear, man. It's crazy to believe that it would be any other way. And for me anyway, I think that it's kind of nonsense. But I hope that Microsoft realistically continues to plot the course that they're on, because I think they're really doing the right thing in terms of how they're kind of handling all this stuff. So there's always going to be these haters that are going to hate on Xbox, but how can you how can you hate on this news, right? It's like, it literally proves that people are playing the game like a ton. So again, I think that it's really one of those things that Microsoft doesn't get enough credit for, but people are always going to find some reason to hate Xbox anyway. But yeah, I thought this was cool. Let me know what you guys think, though. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it. I'm Crap Gamer. This has been Crap Gamer Reviews. Hope you guys all have a good day. Thank you so much for rocking out with me. Have a good one. Peace out.